Hey y'all, welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Amy Peterson, founder 2000 and accredited success coach. All right, so this is actually going to be a recording. We're not going to actually do this one live due to some circumstances that are going on. So I wanted to come to you guys today because we are going to actually be talking about the next law. In our series, which is the law of the mirror. You have to see value in something, especially yourself, in order to add value to yourself. And one of the biggest things that we fight with on a daily basis is low self-esteem. Okay. And it's impossible to consistently behave in a manner inconsistent with how we see ourselves. Okay. We cannot hold our head up high and push our shoulders back and walk confidently in a room when we feel like a tiny little dormouse inside, or we see ourselves as a tiny dormouse. Okay. We can do very few things in a positive way if we feel negative about ourselves. Okay. We feel we are ugly, then I promise you, you're just gonna sit there and you're gonna have your head down, your eyes are gonna look down, your shoulders are gonna hunch. Your body is actually going to start reacting to the way that you feel and the way you think about yourself. So you got to ask yourself, how do you see yourself? There is no factor more important in people's psychological development and motivation than the value judgments they make about themselves. That right there is so huge right now. Think about that. No factor is more important in a person's psychological development, in how we perceive ourselves to be, than the value judgments we make about ourselves. Every aspect of our lives is impacted by the way we see ourselves. Everything, every single thing, everything around us. Why? Because we put that energy out, right? And the energy that is inside a human, let me tell you what, is extreme. It can power small towns. It can literally, drive electricity, the energy that is inside of us. So think about that energy in you. Have you ever reached out and gotten shocked by something? Well, think about that, magnified by a million, and that is what is inside of you, and you're sending that thought process out. It's out. Okay, but it's also it's inside of ourselves. And as we develop through our lives, and there's no certain starting point. Okay, but as we develop through our lives, our motivation and everything we do is based on how we see ourselves, how we judge ourselves. So low self-esteem is going to put a ceiling on your potential. And if you feel inadequate to face challenges, you feel like you're unworthy of love or respect, you're unentitled to happiness, all right, you are scared to death about assertive thoughts or wants or needs. You don't really trust yourself. You lack that basic self-trust, self-respect, and self-confidence. Your self-esteem is going to seriously limit you. You have no self-esteem. So, you have all these limits and barriers. And, no matter where you are in life, you could be the richest person in the world and still be absolutely and positively miserable because you don't love you. You don't love you. You don't appreciate you. You don't respect you. And you're just not happy because you don't feel like you're entitled to that happiness. Have you ever seen those movies, or have you ever heard somebody sit there and say, I just don't think I'm ever going to find that person because, that'll love me like I deserve to be loved, because I don't feel like I deserve it. What? You are sending out to the universe that, no, please don't send me someone who can love me because I don't deserve it. And you can't do that to yourself, okay? You've put a ceiling on finding true love. People have said that, oh, well, I'm never going to get rich because I come from a poor family. You see yourself as you were raised, not what your potential could be. You could be a rocket scientist with some of the greatest ideas out there in the world, but you see yourself based off of where you came from. So you've put a ceiling on your potential for, doing amazing and great things out in the world. And here's the unfortunate truth. The value we place on our own selves is usually the value others place on us. Now, think about this, okay? If you weren't like the most popular person in school, you weren't the most beautiful person in school, you know, how many times did you ever deal with bullies? How many times did you actually deal with bullies? And our kids go through this. We go through this. Adults are so horrible at doing this. How many times do you see people body shaming somebody? Oh my gosh, that person is just so not ever going to go anywhere in life. I mean, look at how they look. Have you guys ever seen Keanu Reeves? Keanu Reeves, extremely amazing actor, okay? And he rides a subway every day. He rides a bus every day. He dresses pretty shabby. A lot of people don't even realize it's Keanu Reeves from The Matrix, from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Yeah, that came out right there. That one, yeah. They don't even notice it's Keanu Reeves. And he's fine with that because he knows his value. He knows his self-worth. He doesn't care what other people say about him. And that's the problem, is we put so much value on what other people say and what they say about us that it limits us. It limits our thought process and development. It limits our self-esteem. The world is not going to raise your price tag if you discount yourself. What does that mean? Sweetheart, check this out, okay? When people sit there and say you are salsa, look at them, smile, and tell them, no, honey bunny, I'm worth more. I'm the guac, okay? For real, guys, bring yourselves up. The world isn't going to raise you. You're going to raise yourself. And if you go by what others think about you, if you go by what others feel about you and so on, guys, you know what? As far as they raise you, as high as they raise you, as fast as they raise you, they can knock you down. They can absolutely knock you down. If you just value yourselves on what others feel about you and how others value you, you have no true value, and they can destroy you as fast as they made you. But if you can stand on your own 2 feet, raise your own 2 arms, hold your head up high, put your shoulders back, and say, I am worth more, nobody can take you down. So what kind of steps can you follow to upsell you? Number 1, guard your self-talk, okay? Learn to become your greatest encourager and cheerleader. When you do something, sit there and say, yes, I did that. And stop comparing you to someone else. Stop comparing your journey to someone else's journey. You have to stop comparing yourself to somebody else. You are not them. They are not you. You are you. The only person you need to compare yourself to is you. Who were you yesterday and what can you be today? That will make the person of tomorrow even better. That's the person you need to compare yourself to, the person in the mirror. And you need to move beyond your limiting beliefs. When you put a limit on what you can do, you put a limit on what you believe in. Think about that. I want you to stop and think about number 3. When you put a limit on what you can do, you have now put a limit on what you believe in. I cannot walk. Which means, guess what? I don't believe I could anyways. I've put a limit on what I can do when I know darn sure well I can get off my butt and move my legs. But what about people who are paralyzed that sit there and say, yes, you know what? I have sat here, I've had a massive injury to my spine, I cannot walk anymore, but you know what? I don't believe it. Why? Because I'm going to make it happen. They have a belief, they have a value in themselves to make the impossible possible. And that is exactly where we go on this one. Jack Canfield came out with 4 steps. Number 1, identify a limiting belief that you want to change. Determine how the belief limits you. How does that belief limit you? Again, the person in the wheelchair, okay? A limiting belief. Doctor said, you'll never walk again. How does that limit you? Decide how you want to be, act, or feel about that limiting belief that you want to change. Are you going to be determined? Are you going to be motivated? Are you going to just be so sure? Or are you going to be depressed? Are you going to sit in your pity pool? Are you going to be doubtful? All those negative things. It's your choice to be positive or negative. And you can create a turnaround statement that affirms or gives you permission to be, act, or feel this new way. In other words, I will walk. I will make the impossible possible. Why? Because I'm possible. You have to create the turnaround statement in your life, and you have to make sure that it affirms or gives you permission. You have to give yourself the permission to be successful, to be happy, to be loved. You. But when you sit there and you say, I can't do this, I'm too busy, I'm tired, I'm confused, you have just discredited yourself, and you have just gone from I'm possible to I'm not possible. Quit making excuses. And remember, everybody's got a butt, so get off it. Give yourself the permission to be successful. Give yourself the permission to be happy. Give yourself the permission to be wealthy beyond measure. Give yourself the permission to be loved, not just by yourself, but by others. Give yourself permission and add value to others, because guess what? It is hard to feel bad about yourself when you're doing something absolutely amazing for somebody else, or something else. How good do you feel when you've helped somebody? When you've picked up something that somebody's, just some random strangers dropped, and given it back to them? How good do you feel about what you've done? Adding value to others makes them also value you more. And it creates a cycle of positive feeling from one person to another. You've heard of giving back, right? You've heard of the Starbucks thing where, people, or pay it forward, the pay it forward movement, all right, where people just go and randomly pay for your bill. I mean, how can you not feel good about that? How much time every day and every week do you spend focusing on others and adding value to them? Do you serve others through a volunteer organization, or maybe through your business? Do you mentor people? Do you give assistance to others less fortunate to yourself? This is why, guys, I love what I do as a success coach. This is why I love leadership roles. Not because of power, not because of ego, but because I get to sit here and help others pick themselves up, be strong, stand tall, hold their heads up high, and love themselves, and help them see that they can give themselves permission to be successful, to be happy, to be loved, to be cherished. Because if we sit there and we say we do not deserve it, we are telling the universe out there that we don't deserve it, and that is not right. You absolutely deserve it. I'm telling you this, but you have to give yourself permission to do so. Do the right thing, even when it's the hardest thing to do. Oh my gosh. How many times do you want to sit there and go, oh, you know what? I could absolutely ignore that this person's getting beat up over here. It's not the right thing to do. Step in, be the saving grace for somebody, okay? Or maybe, you know what? You pick up $5 in the grocery store that's been, that just fell, or that fell, and you can't find the owner. You know what? God, just do the right thing, okay? Turn it in. That $5 could have been some poor little kid's money, all right? And how bad would you feel that this little kid just saved up $5 or worked really hard for $5 and it dropped out of a hole in their pocket? Come on, just do the right thing, guys, even when it's like the hardest thing to do. And practice discipline every day. How do athletes, how do any professionals do what they do? They practice discipline daily, okay? It takes discipline to be successful. It takes discipline to be happy. It takes discipline to increase our value. You have to practice at it daily. Do something positive every single day. You want to lose weight? Exercise every day. Eat right every day. It's discipline. And that discipline forms into habit to where you need it every day. All right? This is how habits are formed. But we're talking, of course, about positive habits. So you want to practice discipline every day. Discipline yourself to do what's right. Discipline yourself to help others. Discipline yourself to give yourself permission to be happy, successful, loved, and cherished. And celebrate all your victories, big and small. Even the smallest things. Oh my God, guys, I did a push-up today. Okay? Celebrate that sucker, okay? I know with me, I definitely celebrate stuff like that. Why? Because it's super important. All right? Don't just look at the big victories. Look at the small ones too, because those small ones lead to big ones. So celebrate them all. And embrace a positive vision of your life based on your values. A positive vision of your life based on your values. Think about that. Think about that. And just embrace it. Embrace that vision. What you focus on expands, okay? Pick one positive word about yourself and say it multiple times a day. How many times do we sit there, for those of you who are Christian and religious, how many times do we sit there and say, God is good, God is great, God is good, God is great? Say that, but also say things like, I am strong, I am strong, I'm strong, I am strong. Or, I deserve love, I deserve love, I deserve love. Or, I am successful, I am successful, I am successful. What we focus on will expand. So make it positive. And take responsibility for your life. We get what we tolerate. If you tolerate people walking all over you, they're going to continue to walk all over you. If you tolerate being, told what you can and cannot do, you're going to be told for the rest of your life what you can and cannot do. You need to stand the hell up. Bottom line, you need to stand up for yourself. Be yourself. Be proud of yourself. Love yourself. Give yourself permission to be a leader of your life. Don't be a follower of your life. Be a leader of your life. Take control and take action. I love you guys very, very much. There is no homework this week, and I hope that this absolutely and positively resonated with some of you. Definitely make sure you are reading the book. Definitely make sure you go over this chapter and this law in great consistency, and discipline yourself. Discipline yourself, take responsibility, and above all, guys, increase your value and give yourself permission to be the best person that I know you are. I'll talk to you guys later.